How was your household with your parents? Like, what were they doing, like, work-wise and stuff?
Do you know what? So my dad, when he first came over here, he used to work at a bank.
Okay.
Called the BCCI. Then that went for some fraudulent. My dad's a very straight and narrow type person. Then that company, bank went into liquidation. This is when I was a kid, but I remember somewhat. But obviously, you hear the stories when you grow older. And then from there, he went into Then my dad went into grafting mode, like 3 jobs.
Serious?
Yeah, my dad was like pizza delivery guy at one stage, but my dad's very academically educated.
Savvy, yeah.
But then he went into like 3 jobs. He was a minicab driver for a bit. Oh, not even for a bit. This is all 3 jobs.
Wow.
Then he worked for an Arab freight company. So he did like 3 jobs at once. So my dad was a grafter.
He was a provider.
He was a provider.
Yeah,
I love that. I
100%,
appreciate that. My dad was, man. And we often talk about that now. Then he ended up at the Home Office. But he was...
Did you lot used to get
beats, bro? But
remember what you say something about, do we think in the Justo episode, should parents, was it beat the children? No, it's beat Justo.
Justo's like break their
beat
back.
the children. Do you think, what do you think about like children getting beat?
you know what the thing is? It's a tough one because if we didn't fear our dad, and I believe that's how we built fear back then, we would have been
wayward.
Oh man, especially myself anyway. Like I would have been definitely not doing what I'm doing today, 100%. Because I feared my dad more than the police.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like the police were nothing. It was just more my dad. Like, don't tell my dad. Do you know what I mean? So, but the reason why I don't agree with that, because I would never beat my child, but yet my child knows to have that fear when I say something, and I would never.
Why
put
would
my
you
hands.
never beat your child?
I don't believe in that. Firstly, I've got a daughter. That's number
Okay.
one. But even if I had a son, I wouldn't. I think there's other ways of.
They haven't made you angry enough. That's all it is.
No, but what?
Have you beat your child yet? Okay.
But like my daughter's, she's 8, man. When they're 2, 3, they can drive you nuts, fam. But I would never lay my hands on any children. So I don't agree with it.
Big up for that.
We used to get
you
serious
still.
beatings, like real beatings growing up.
What my dad?
My don't really. He doesn't do anything to get beat. But if he did, I'll beat him still.
I remember
Quick and fast.
Listen, I remember one time, yeah.
Quick and fast.
Big up Carlton, Mr. C. He's like he's the founder of Garage Delight and
Yeah, big up Carlton.
so
Oh my
solid
days.
as well with Megs and that very early. Like anyway, I remember one time primary school. For some reason, he felt that.
Well, Carlton was all from primary school.
Yeah, man, Carlton's
Big
man's
up- big
brethren,
up
man,
Carlton.
and secondary. Like when I went Hurlem. But I remember one time, anyway, I'll share this story. Like my dad, Carlton must have thought I stole a game off him, so he came to my door, and then my dad.
He G'd it up. Carlton went mad.
I didn't.
No, Carlton went mad. He G'd it up.
Bro, I didn't steal no game. I'll keep.
Yeah, but
I'll keep
you
it
get what I'm saying?
100.
He went and told.
But
that
then
you stole
see the
again.
way my dad gave me licks outside the door. Like, even Carlton was like, listen, keep the game. And I was like, but I looked at him vexed. Like, I don't know. I wonder,
can't,
Carlton,
man.
let me know if you remember this, man. Because I see the look. You know when you look up and look at Carlton like, blood, are you mad? You set
He
the,
just got my mass
you
up.
set the dog on me. Like, but then Carlton was like, no, forget the game. I was like, blood,
It's too late.
I wanted to have a one-on-one with Carlton at one stage for that. Cause I was like, blood, there weren't no game. But anyway, my dad was fizzy. But again, it's that lack of like I said, he's educational, but adaptation. Like they come from a very hard background of their parents weren't affectionate. They only spoke with their hands. So that's generational. But this is why I think it's beautiful for us with the knowledge that we have today to break that cycle in many areas. You know what I mean? So that's one of them though. So I don't agree with it. But I do believe certain kids or certain teenagers, they need licks.
They need something.
Yeah, they
some
do.
kind of discipline.
Yeah, from now.
What's going on right now is mad. Maybe that's what's missing in the household.
Yeah.
Some
But there's
good
more
old
though.
fashioned licks.
I think it's more though, because I feel like there's so much families that are broken up. Like I think when we were growing up, there was more, around me, directly around me, there was more family. Like even if there wasn't a dad in the house, there was like uncles and stuff. There was
100%, I
more
saw that.
community going on now. It's not community. You can live next door to someone. You don't know who they are. Do you know what I mean? You could knock and ask for sugar or a cup of milk before.
That was Battersea, by the way.
Can't do that.
That
now.
was Battersea, by
Yeah.
the way. And I agree with you, man. That big up Auntie Madge, our neighbour up until we all moved out for like good 20 odd years. Like, again, she came from Jamaica, raised her family, but we would go in each other's houses and, do you know what I mean? She would give man the homemade buns and patties and vice versa. My mum would dash over some curry.
Yeah.
Beautiful, man. So yeah, I definitely agree. And then growing up in Battersea them times, it was one of those moments of like, almost everyone's immigrants, first generation.
100%, yeah.
So we're
And
learning.
you had to stick together.
Had to.
You had no choice. It was like us against
The rest of it.
Yeah.
I think that's what made, that's what made me. Like, big up my brother Swiss. Like, we always talk about
Big
that.
up Swiss.
Yeah, man.
shout out to Swiss.
Me and Swiss always have them deep conversations of like, me being South Asian, him being Jamaican, and how we lived in each other's houses, but still remained cultured, but we taught each other's culture. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so it's a blessing, man. Battersea is a very special place.
Growing up in Battersea, it's like a minority area, but then do you feel like you was a minority inside the minority area? Like being Pakistani, Indian?
Do you know, when I look back, the facts are we were the only South Asian, Pakistani, Indian family in the whole of the area. And the area is quite big. Like,
huge.
But never felt that though.
Good.
Never felt that. And you only think about these things like when you hear other people's stories.
No way you was the only family, Asian family.
Yeah, blood. Like, we was the only Asian family.
Did you know Asian families are...
Not in Brixton, not in my school.
I can't believe she's saying Brixton.
Why?
Battersea. No,
I wasn't at that
No,
time.
but
At that time I wasn't
Battersea and
there.
Brixton's always had similarities.
Similar, yeah. There was none.
Oh, is it?
No, there was like Vietnamese, but there was no like Pakistani
You know what
in
it
my
is? Where I've
class.
grown up with them from young, innit? Like Wolf
Different
and Stowe,
area,
innit?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
East is obviously
Settling.
but
When people
Southwest
settled.
got their
I
pockets.
can't
like, if you go
imagine growing up with...
Two in.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine
Bet.
growing up with one
Yeah,
Asian
yeah.
family.
Yeah.
I can't imagine growing up with just one Asian family. That I know.
It's
Like,
beautiful, blood. My mum, like I said, she dished out a lot of curry.
Yeah.
Well, it was a blessing, though. It was a blessing. Like, to your point, like, never felt it.
Yeah.
And I'm forever grateful to, like, how could I say this without sounding, but to black people, like, forever grateful. And that's why I always teach my daughter this: brown and black is one. Like, that's how I've
100%.
grown. Do you know what I mean? And she repeats that back to me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, so the growing up, the teachings was a blessing. Proper blessing.
Less division then as well.
Oh,
for sure.
Do you know what the thing is today? Like, most people look at each other and find the differences, right? Back then, we would look at the
The
similarities.
similarities.
Right,
Yeah.
and that would just kill it. Or whether the similarities was football, or you support Arsenal, I support, whatever the case was, or you listen to that music, and we would just stick to each other like glue, and that was it. You're my brethren now. Whereas today, there's too much, like, whether it's a faith thing or whether it's this thing, too much things come up to why we
to
can't.
divide us.
Yeah. So, but we didn't have that though, thankfully, and I don't promote that today. Like, I'd always look for similarities, the littlest thing, and then be like, bro, we can rock. You know what I mean?
I see something on Shadeborough with troops, and they were saying something about, mixed race, the difference between
that.
mixed race
I saw that today.
mixed race people with white
black
mums
mum
and black mums.
Yeah. I don't get that though.
They were
People got too much time on their hands.
trying to say the ones with white mums are more mental. Big up Troops though, but Troops has landed on his feet, so I didn't get it as well. Troops is doing well in life.
Unless that's a scientific conversation.
That's what I'm saying.
Why
He's
were
doing
you-
well in life.
I just think it's
Why are people having that?
social economic stuff that impact that. Do you know what I mean? Like what your social standing is and your environment that you
Do you know
grow
what
in
it
and
is?
stuff like that.
My mum's black, yeah. Oh, well, obviously. But I'm saying I've got a couple mixed race brothers and sisters, yeah. They're not like that. They,
Go on.
Go on,
they ain't that
finish.
great.